Hey there, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Minds of Markets live stream right here from the S&P 500 options pit on the floor of the SIBO. Welcome on this Tuesday. Today is going to be a great one. We're going to talk about what's going on with the markets, why this is, the holiday shortened week, what to expect here, and then we really have just two special guests that are coming on today, which I'll keep that as a surprise just for the next few minutes here. But really, all in celebration of Independence Day and what that means to all of us. But let's get right to the markets right now, guys. Another really quiet day, and this is absolutely a quiet week, maybe one of the quietest weeks of the entire year, with markets closing early tomorrow. So equity markets close at noon tomorrow. Obviously, we're off Thursday for July 4th, Independence Day. And then Friday is a full day, and we do get the June jobs report Friday morning. My expectation is that we may get a flurry of activity on the opening of the market, maybe the first half an hour or so on Friday. And then, listen, lot of people, a lot of traders are on vacation already. They're going to be taking off. So my expectation is that Friday is going to be a really, really low volume day as well. So I can tell you that traders, I've talked to a lot of the guys back here, traders, institutions, they are already looking ahead to next week. They're already positioning for next week. What does that mean when you're trading options? One of the biggest things you have to concern yourself with when you have days off from the marketplace is that old theta, right? That time premium, that decay, because even though the markets close early tomorrow and markets aren't open on Thursday, theta keeps going. Just like when it's in a weekend, weekend's coming up, theta keeps accelerating. So we have to keep that in mind. So what's going on today? Hovering right around the flat line all day long. I'm looking up at the big board right now. S&Ps are up about 4 points right now. I haven't really seen them outside of plus or minus 10 for the most part of the day. S&P futures so far under 800,000 have traded, so really, really slow activity on the day. Again, probably just a lot of positioning for the jobs number on Friday, but not a lot of volume at all. The biggest thing happening in the market today, obviously, we're going to take a look here. We've got Tesla with the Tesla numbers that came out today. I'm not going to say much better than expected. They were much more benign, if you will. They were not as bad as expected here. So you can see this big move here in Tesla today. It was actually down 3-4 bucks pre-market because some of the China numbers were out, but then when they released the North American numbers here, which again were not as bad as expected, that is why this stock is much higher here. Now, if I look at this Tesla chart here, guys, this has blown past the 200-day moving average here. Not a lot of resistance above here. So depending on market conditions here, again, there's not a lot ahead here. There's really not a ceiling. This thing can keep going. There's no question about it. And ahead of today's number that came out yesterday, there was some really big call volume. This morning, an incredible amount of call volume. I'm going to bring up this week's weekly expirations here. You can see, check this out here, guys. If we look at, let me get my drawing tool a little bit. Look at the volume here in these upper strikes, these upper call strikes, which are now at the money. There, we're going to adjust the screen here for a moment, guys. But look at the volume today in the 225, 230, 235, 240 calls. Incredible amount of volume, and a lot of that was early. Recently, over the last half an hour or so, we're starting to see some sellers coming in, maybe just taking those profits off the table, because that is a heck of a run that Tesla has made today. All right, enough on Tesla here. Let's take a look at SPX and what is happening with again, this kind of very sideways activity today, and also incredibly, incredibly cheap volatility. So this is SPX right here, guys, over the last, man, I really wish I could control this better here. There we go. Look at that sideways activity in the SPX. Okay, really not a lot going on here. And then if I expand this out here and we look at implied volatility, okay, so option premium, we are under 10%. Actually, we're under 9% for a while today. So really, really cheap. Again, if someone, someone asks me, what do we do about protection in the marketplace? And we always want to buy things when they're cheap, right? You always want to buy your insurance when it's cheap. If you are looking for a homeowner's policy, auto insurance, whatever it is, and you call your broker up, you want to get it ahead of time, right? You don't want to have to make that call, God forbid, once something has already happened when you're in panic mode and maybe premiums are higher. When vol is this cheap here, guys, it is a really opportunistic time to buy some premium, to buy some protection. Buy it when you can, not when you have to. That's what all these traders behind me would tell you. That's what I would tell you. Buy when you can and not when you have to. All right, one more headline I want to talk about before I bring in my guests for the day today. Earlier today, Powell spoke. He's in Portugal. He was with the other big Fed heads from other central banks around the world, and his commentary pretty benign today. He was saying that he's very encouraged by cooler inflation data that we've gotten recently, CPI a couple weeks ago, PCE, which came out last Friday. However, he's still sticking to the same mantra that the central bank needs to see more evidence before they cut rates. So even though we're seeing, this data come in much better, we're not seeing it reflected really in how the central bank, how the Fed is going to respond to that. In fact, if I can figure out how to get to my next screen here, boy, Mike, I could use some help on this. Oh, there we go. I want to show everybody here what the CME FedWatch tool is showing. So this screen right here shows us live, up to date right now, what the probabilities are that the Fed is going to change interest rate policy. So if I look first, or if we look first here at the July meeting, which is coming up in just a few weeks at the end of the month, you can see right here 91% probability that they're keeping rates the same. Nobody expects them to cut in July. Okay, that expectation is off the table. But if we push ahead here to September, now all of a sudden you can see only a 31% chance that they're going to keep rates the same, and nearly, we got some activity here behind us here, nearly a 70% chance that they are going to cut rates by at least a quarter. So that is the expectation right now. We've got big June jobs number this Friday. That could impact what the Fed, is thinking. Their biggest thing that that they've been really harping on, even though inflation data is coming down, is this sticky labor market, this sticky jobs market. And in fact, one of the data points we got this morning, JOLTS, which stands for really the job openings out there, was a little bit hotter than expected, meaning that there are more job openings out there that employers can't fill. That's not what the Fed wanted to see. Okay, now we are going to totally pivot here. And what I really want to focus on, and I'll be honest with you guys, the market is the market. This is so much more important. I have two special guests here today, both who are long time team members here at Prosper Trading Academy, both who served in the military. Obviously, we thank you guys so much for all of your sacrifices, for everything you've done. I want to introduce them individually and have them talk to us. The first one who everybody can see here, this is Mr. Carl Sen, everybody, who has been with Prosper. Actually, I think you've been here longer than I have, Carl, if I'm not mistaken. But again, most importantly, I want you to tell all our listeners about your story, what you did, how you got into the military, what did you do, what branch were you in, and then, quite frankly, how did you make the transition out of the service into where you are right now? And again, you know, thank you.
Awesome, Scott. Well, thanks first and foremost for having me on. I appreciate all of your mentorship, your leadership, everything I've learned from you over the years. My military story is pretty unique. I actually enlisted at the age of 17 years old
Wow.
in the United Marine Corps. I wasn't even old enough to sign myself up. I put that on my mother's shoulders, so she actually had to sign my life away and say, "Yeah, this is an okay decision for Carl to make." I can remember sitting at the kitchen table. I mean, she cried, and we didn't talk for a little while after that. But you got this Marine recruiter sitting in front of you, and you're like, "Okay, we're doing this," and that was the decision that was made. And shortly after that, I was off on a plane to San
Wait,
Diego.
so did you finish high school?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
oh
you
yeah.
finished high. Okay, cool.
I graduated high school, and then right after that, boom, we were on a plane and we were gone. So,
Wow.
I got down to MCRD, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Stood on the yellow footprints. Met my senior drill instructor and my drill instructors to be for the next 3 months on Halloween, October 31st. And Drew will be able to attest to this when he comes out and shares like your first day there when you meet your drill instructors. It is just absolute chaos, mayhem. Everything's flying all over, everyone's screaming. And I thrived in the environment. I loved it.
That's
I
awesome.
really, yeah, I really did enjoy it. It was what I actually needed at that time, specifically. So served 4 years, served from 1995 to 1999. One of the key deployments that I was on was an operation called Dynamic Mix, which Dynamic
Dynamic
Mix,
mix. Okay.
yeah, it's essentially a NATO exercise where in 97 we had 14 different countries come together and be full combat operations capable
Wow.
within less than 72 hours. That's the point of the operation. So in the Med, they have what are called maritime pre-position ships, or at least they did at that time. They essentially look like cargo ships, traditional cargo ships, but they're military. So they're somewhat, unrecognizable. Then before you know it, these cargo ships pull into port, and you've got amphibious assault vehicles
And
splashing.
wait,
And
was this all in San Diego or where was this at?
no, 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 this is
Right.
in the
Okay.
Med.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
it
Got
was
it.
a
Yeah.
joint NATO exercise. You had 14 different
Hmm.
countries that were all a part of this exercise. So it was a really good time and a great thing to be a part of. So did well. Did my 4 years. At the end of it, though, I wanted a family. And I didn't think that that was actually the right environment for me to build the family in. And I was also pretty business minded too, and itching to make some more money. So got out honorably, did my 4 years, did my time, and that was great. And then when I came back, transitioning is not the easiest thing. I've always kept that in the back of my mind. Once you've been a part of an element like that,
And,
coming
and
back
and
to
especially such a regimented system, I would
yes,
imagine.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then coming back to civilian world,
Huh.
it's not the easiest thing. I've always remembered that. Some of the volunteer work that I do nowadays is involved around that. We're going to speak on that in a minute. But I got back here, always had an interest in real estate and mortgages. So we held two licenses. I held the Illinois license as a real estate brokerage mortgage corporation, and then my business partner, who's actually my mother, we launched on the finance side. So we had two teams, and we killed it while it was in its heyday up until about 2008. And I think if you heard my
What
story,
happened in 2008? And let me remember. Oh man. Wow.
yeah, yeah, so pretty interesting story there. And I was spending more time in the financial district. Met some folks down there that
Yeah.
ultimately introduced me to you guys, to Charlie Moon, to Scott Bauer, to Mike Shore, and I've been on board with our group ever since. What we do here at Prosper in the market absolutely works. As far as how that relates to, Independence Day, like you asked me to talk about Independence Day and really what that means to me and how does that correlate to what we do here? Well, I've been here nearly 15 years now. So I've got over 30,000 hours on these telephones. That's a lot of
So
conversation.
a lot of
The
talk
one
time.
A lot of talk time. The one commonality I can say that everyone that's coming to us and seeking, they're all looking to be independent. They're all looking to be financially independent. And what I love the most about being here at Prosper is it doesn't matter their personality or their backgrounds. Here's another thing a lot of other groups won't talk about. Trading is a very, very personal thing.
Yeah.
What might work phenomenal for Scott might not work that well for Carl.
Well,
My personality might be a little bit short term. I was scalping here on the futures market, so Zoom meeting, right? So that might be more towards my personality and style. And a lot of organizations won't talk about that, but here at Prosper, regardless of what angle you're coming in from, regardless of what your background, your personality style type might be, we have a program for it. And just like in going into boot camp, where there's a proven system there, how do we take this kid, 17 years old, and how do we take him and turn him into a United States Marine?
yeah.
Well, there's an absolute format there. There's an absolute process there, Scott. So what I love about what we do here at Prosper, we've spent, the last 20 plus years now in refining those processes to, hey, how do we take this person from even perhaps a brand newbie
Sure.
to a solid within the 30 days? Or how do we take, Chuck, who's been trading for 30 years? Maybe he was a former floor trader.
And
Now, how
try
do we
and
help?
transform them over a little bit.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
you know,
But
I
we've
I would I would never I would never make this analogy, even though I'm going to say it right now. I would never make the analogy that trading is the same regiment as what you went through, is what you go through in the military. However, to be successful, there is a trading regiment. Totally different
sure,
than what you went through, but there is a trading regiment. And I think those that study and work at it, just like what you did, those are the ones that really, find the fruits of what they're looking for.
absolutely,
Bef-
absolutely.
Before I bring in our other esteemed guests, just give us a quick overview. I know you're still very, very active. You're still very involved in your community. Um, what are you doing?
So you know very well, in 2017, when my youngest graduated eighth grade, we relocated with the blessings, of course, of our corporation here. Scottsdale wanted to make a change, had it with those winners, and Scottsdale seemed the place to be. So coming in here, I was actually sitting down at a Starbucks and thumbing through the Scottsdale Press, and I saw an article there by the guy, name is Dan Zuchik, and he was wanting to establish a Marine Corps League chapter, or charter, if you will, for the Scottsdale area because there wasn't one. So I saw that, and right away I called him up. I contacted him. Fast forward to today, I'm very involved. I'm actually the acting commandant of the Scottsdale Marine Corps League, Detachment 1479. Got a little over 30 members now, which is
It's
further
awesome.
than what we had. Yeah, and our purpose obviously is to support and maintain the traditions of the United States Marine Corps while also supporting transitioning Marines, like we were talking about, back to civilian world. That could include job placement, that could include anything. We have other different things that we do as well, but that in my focus, that's primarily one of them is the transitioning Marine coming back here to the greater Phoenix area that just wants to get plugged back in.
That is so awesome, and I think that is just a testament to you. It's a testament, honestly, to a lot of the members here at Prosper that we all get caught up in our own worlds, but we none of us ever forget to give back where we came from, give back. That can happen in so many, shapes, so many different forms. You are obviously the epitome of that. Dude, we can't thank you enough for your service, not only to our, to our country, but obviously here at Prosper as well. So, guys, for those of you that have ever worked with Carl, those of you that are watching on this right now, here is Carl Sen. He gets a massive, massive, deep wished gratitude from all of us. Carl, thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to you offline in a little bit. And now I want to bring in our next guest, another team member of Prosper who's been around for a very, very long time, Drew Urusek. Drew, you there? Come on in, buddy.
Yes, yes, I am. Thank you so
Boom.
much for having me, Scott.
There
Can you
we
hear
go.
me?
Absolutely. Loud and clear.
And Carl, always good seeing you. I'll go over how I met Carl here in a little bit, but Scott, Independence Day, 4th of July has always meant a lot for me, a lot to me, I should say. It started off with my grandfather used to get the family together every single year, got all the cousins, all the uncles, aunts, and we went to the country club he belonged to, and we watched fireworks, and that was amazing. I love the family, the camaraderie of our family, and what independence meant to me growing up was that our country's great. It's something worth fighting for. The freedoms that we enjoy are not held lightly, not only by people that are civilians that enjoy it, but also military. When I was in high school, I didn't have any money to go to college. Big family, 9 kids total.
Wow.
My father
Wow.
and mother did not make a lot of money, and the only way I was going to do it is to join the military. And when you go to if anyone's gone to military recruiting offices, they usually have them all in a row. So I walk in the door. The Air Force wasn't even at their desks. The Navy didn't look like they were in good shape, and back then they could even smoke in the offices, and they were smoking, legs kicked up on the counter. Army, same thing. They didn't really look to me to be squared away. And there's this Marine that looked
Tough as
dressed to the
nails, right?
nines, and he was setting up a pull-up bar.
There
He
you
was setting
go.
up a pull-up bar, and he said, "Hey, Drew." I didn't say my name, but he said, "Hey, can you do some pull-ups?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "How many can you do?" And I said, "I don't know, 20." And he goes, he said, I bet you $5 you can't, whatever." He did something like that.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing 25 pull-ups, and then that got the conversation going. He was a Vietnam vet, had, medals from his chest to his neck. And I was just so impressed with him. And then he told me about the GI Bill. And so I enlisted. And absolute best decision of my life. It took someone that, didn't really have a lot of direction on what I wanted to do and gave me that direction. And something about the military, a lot of people don't know, it's very binary, meaning whatever you put in, you get out. And I just so happened to just thrive in that environment. If you put 100% in, you're going to get 100% return. It's kind of like trading, right? If you don't put the effort in,
Yeah, you're
you're
not
not
going
going
to
to
see
get the
those
result.
results. Exactly. Exactly.
And so I really thrived in that environment. Ended up staying in after my first 4 years. Got to sergeant. Got to see the whole world. I ended up wanting to be an officer, so I started the what's called the platoon leaders course to become an officer, which included me going to school. And while I was going to school, I was serving at Weapons Battalion here in Waukegan in Illinois. Um, when I was about to graduate, I got pulled aside by my officer, my commanding officer, because I had a son on the way. And he said, "Hey, listen, Marine officers are deploying for 2 to 3 years, just so
Oof.
you know." And with the son on the way, he said, "So before you
Oof.
sign your extension and go to officer candidate school, I want you to know, eyes wide open." And that's when I was like, you know what? I want to see my son grow up, and I pulled out of the Marine Corps. Sad, bittersweet day. I want everyone to know on this call, I would do it all over again. I'm a patriot at heart. Again, I feel like the liberties that we enjoy as a country are worth fighting for, and I would fight for them all over again. So I ended up getting out, and it was a tough transition. Why? Because I am such a high achiever and performer. And in in regular workspaces, you tend not to get people that put in the same effort as they get result, right? But I ended up seeing you, and coming,
Mhm.
you were my first employer at the Chicago Board of Trade. Carl Sen's the one that got me the job with you guys. Absolutely loved it. Why? Because it's the same thing. You put 100%
That's
effort
right.
in, you're going to get 100% result back, right? Not only in trading, but also in the business that you run, right?
And and and
And I
look
love
and
that.
and look where that's got you now, because here we are X amount of years later, and you are running our newest business, Sasco Gold. For those of you that don't know this, besides our trading education, we have a gold business as well that Drew basically took, literally from startup from scratch, and has just run with it. And to what you just said about, you're going to get out what you put into it. We certainly know, after working with you for, so many years, and especially seeing this startup really starting to flourish, we see the hard work you put in and the rewards that we're all getting from it.
Yeah, and I liken this to, people want to obviously learn to trade to make money in the market. I help people protect what they've
Yep.
built, right? Most people don't know, Scott, that you can own gold inside your retirement account. It's a tax-free, penalty-free move. Doesn't cost you a thing. You're just moving from, paper to physical assets. And you said at the beginning of your meeting today, your call, your podcast, that where's the federal chairman right now, Powell, right? He's in Europe with the central banks. Central banks just bought 1,000 tons of gold last year, the most gold they've
Unbelievable.
ever bought,
Ever.
most
Off the
gold they've ever
charts.
bought in their history.
Why do
There's
you
a
think that
reason,
is? Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
you kind of gotta follow the money, if you will, right? And so I help people protect their wealth. Again, most people don't know you can move into gold tax free, penalty free. And in our company, we're a full service dealer, as you know. We're not only there on the front end when we get you into gold, we're there on the back end. We buy gold too, right? So we keep you liquid anytime you need to get out. Also, gold is not taxed the same. Anyone that wants to learn about gold can reach me at my just email me, Drew at sascogold.com. It's very simple, Drew at sascogold.com. I can meet with you one on one, go over all the features, benefits, tax differences related to owning precious metals. And I would say anybody that talks to me will be in a better place,
Sorry
at
about that. I
least
wanted to
in
see
an
what was going on
understanding.
back there. No, that is, so incredible. And again, having you and Carl part of our team, besides what you do for Prosper, just knowing what you have done for all of us, what you have done for our country, and I don't say this lightly, everybody. I'm not trying to get emotional or anything, but guys like Carl, guys like Drew, and anyone else that family members, friends, acquaintances that have ever put on a uniform, that have served, we just owe all of you our deepest thanks and gratitude, because not everyone wants to do it. And um, you know, it's amazing what you guys have sacrificed, and it's so absolutely wonderful to see how successful you guys are.
And we owe a debt of gratitude to you as well, Scott.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
it's all
Appreciate that.
great. Carl, Drew, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your service. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy Independence Day on Thursday. Can't thank you guys enough for what you've done for all of us, and everybody out there in television land. Everybody out there listening in here. That's gonna bring us to a close. While we've been talking here, the market's actually trading at its high of the day. S&Ps are up 13 points now. I've heard a couple big orders back here, but volume is still very, very light. So I will not be here at our normal time on Thursday because of Independence Day. However, we will be back on Friday. We'll see what kind of trading day Friday is. I think it's going to be really slow. We'll be here on Friday, but as a special treat this afternoon, I will be actually, let me see if I can get the camera. I don't know if you guys can see now. There's a couple of TVs in the background, kind of right where I'm pointing to up here. That is where that is where the SIBO cameras are at, and I will be interviewed this afternoon live at like 2:02 Central Time on Fox Business with Liz Clayman. So hopefully you guys will all tune into that. If not, I wish all of you a great rest of the trading day. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Independence Day. We'll see you all on Friday. Thanks, everybody.